All right, guys, we are going to check 399 and 400 for my 5th grade. Okay, here we go. The rule for number 2 was adding 3/8. The missing term was 2 1/2. Number 3, subtract 1/5. The missing term is 1 1/2. Number 4, subtract 1/4. The missing term is 1 2/3. And then we had to write the first 4 terms for number 5. 1/2, 5/6, 1 1/6, and 1 1/2. Number 6, 3 1/8, 2 3/8, 1 5/8, and 7/8. All right, let's look at number 7. Jared's puppy weighs 3 3/4 ounces at birth. At 1 week old, the puppy weighed 5 1/8 ounces. At 2 weeks old, the puppy weighed 6 1/2 ounces. If the weight continues, how much will the puppy weigh? We had to figure out what they're going up by. And when we did, I took the 6 1/2 and took away from the 5 1/8. Found out that it was going up by 1 3/8 pounds per week. Okay. So I took and I added the last week, which was 6 1/2 pounds, and I added the 1 3/8 pounds to get 7 7/8 ounces at the end of the 3 weeks. Okay. Number 8, a baker started with 12 cups of flour. She had 9 1/4 cups left after the first batch of batter she made. And she had 6 1/2 cups after the second batch. If she makes 2 more batches, how many cups will be left? You had to start with 12 and take away the 9 1/4. When you did that, remember you had to take 1 from the whole and make it into fourths. And it would be 11 4/4 to be the same thing as 12. When you subtract the 9 1/4, you get 2 3/4 cups. So she went down each time by 2 3/4 cups. She used that much on each batch. So then to get the second batch, you had to take away 6 1/2 from 9 1/4. And I'm sorry, 9 1/4 from 2 3/4 to get the 6 1/2. Okay. Then the next batch to take 2 3/4 from 6 1/2. And you were left with 3 3/4. And that would be for the next batch that she made, because she made 2 more batches. And then for the last batch, she was left with 3 3/4, and she took away 2 3/4 cups, and she's left with 1 cup of flour after she makes all of the cookies or whatever it was that she was making. Okay. All right. You guys had to make your own sequence for another student to try. Okay. If you did it, that's great. If not, that's okay as well. Let's look at number 1. What's the rule for the sequence? On page 400, the rule would be adding 2/3. Number 2, Jamie biked 5 1/4 on Monday, 6 7/8 on Tuesday, 8 1/2 on Wednesday. If he continues, how many will he bike on Friday? So we had to go 2 more to get up to Friday. So he stopped at 6 7/8 on Tuesday. So we would have to take away from the 5/4 to see how much he biked each day. And when you subtract those, it's 1 5/8. So he did 1 5/8 each day, excuse me. So on Wednesday, he stopped with 8 1/2 on Wednesday. So you would have to add 1 5/8 to that to get 10 1/8. And then you take 10 1/8 and add 1 5/8. And at the end on Friday, he will have biked 5 3/4 miles. All right. On number 3, Jalen rode her bike in a bike-a-thon. She rode 33 4/800 miles in 2 7/10 hours. If she rode at the same speed, what was her speed in miles? You would have to divide. Okay. So your dividend would be 33 and 48 miles divided by 2 7/10 miles. Okay, remember, when you're dividing a decimal by decimal, you can't do that. Your divisor rather cannot be a decimal. So you have to make it a whole number by moving the decimal place over to the end of that number. We only had to move it one place to get it to a whole number. So however many times you move it here, the same number, and pull your decimal up. And now you're ready to divide because you're dividing by a whole number. Okay? So 27 goes into 33 once. 1 times 27 is 27. Subtract 13 and 2. 13 minus 7 is 6. Bring down your 4. 64 into 27 goes twice. And that will give me 54. Subtract with 10 left over. Bring down my 8. 108 into 27 goes 4 times. And 4 times 27 is 108. So you're left with 0. So she bikes 12 and 4/10 miles per hour. Or goes that fast on her bike. All right, in 1 week, the company filled 546 boxes with widgets. Each box had 38 widgets. How many widgets did they pack? You would multiply 546 times 38, and you would get 20,748. Okay, the next one. Write an expression to represent the statement, add 9 and 3, then multiply by 6. Well, you're going to put 9 plus 3 in parentheses, multiplied by 6. That is your equation. All right, the next one. Mason took 9 and 4/10 minutes to complete the first challenge in the Chance Challenge. He completed the second challenge in 2 and 6,500 minutes faster than the first. How long did it take to complete the second? You would simply subtract the 2. Remember, you have to line up your decimals. So you're going to take 9 and 4/10 and subtract 2 and 6,500. Remember, line up your decimals. You have to add a 0 there to take away. Okay, this becomes 10. This becomes 3. I still can't do, so borrow again. And the 10 goes to the 3. 10 minus 5 is 5. 13 minus 6 is 7. 8 minus 2 is 6. So he completed it in 6 7/75 minutes. Okay. All right, guys. I'm not sure what I had on my plans. Let's see. 5th grade. We checked 399 and 400. And we'll hop on and teach a new lesson tomorrow, and we'll move on to 6.9. Okay. Bye, guys.